Hi guys, I am Lucas and you are watching my game channel, and in this video I will tell you everything about Tyr, guys. After watching this video, you are going to be prepared for God of War Ragnarok. Before, don't forget to like the video, it's very important, and subscribe to the channel for more. Consider becoming a member to support the channel, because in the future I have a surprise for you. Tyr is the son of Odin with a stranger. We don't know who Tyr's mother is. And this is very important, guys. We don't know who is his mother in the game. People say Tyr is the son of a giant. He is the son of Ymir. Calm down, guys. That's because we have the facts of Norse mythology and the facts of the game. In God of War, the game, Tyr is the son of Odin, and we don't know who his mother is. It is very similar what we find about Tyr in Norse mythology and what we find about Tyr in the game. He is the God of War, God of Peace, God of Justice. We have his story with Fenrir, which I will talk about in a moment. The story with Fenrir is possible to happen in the game as well. And there is an important symbolism in this story, which is the sacrifice. And this sacrifice can happen in God of War Ragnarok, which can also be something very sad. All the murals, they bring the history of the giants. We knew them, we know about that. We discovered all this in God of War. The only one that received a tribute of this kind was Tyr. When we enter Tyr's vault, we see part of his mural destroyed. That's because Odin was trying to find out, by all means, some possible secret that Tyr was keeping. This is because when Odin's paranoia about Ragnarok and the giants increased, he suspected that Tyr was helping the giants, and somehow he was. Tyr is Baldur's and Thor's half-brother, and who knows, I believe that in God of War Ragnarok, we will find out who Tyr's mother really is, guys. And we heard a lot of Tyr in God of War 2018. And we finally see his look in God of War Ragnarok trailer. And of course, now this is my theory. 1 minute and then we will return to the facts of the game. I have told you that it's possible. It is possible that we are going to have 2 campaigns in the new game, guys. A campaign with Kratos and Mimir, and the other campaign with Tyr and Atreus. These guys, because Kratos and Atreus, for sure, they will break. There will be this break in God of War Ragnarok. And these scenes in the trailer, it seems that they are different, right? Take a look. And in the end, we believe, in Atreus' arms in the final mural in Jotunheim, we see Tyr's body here. Because when we translate the runes, we read something like fraud, because in 2018 game, we believed that Odin had killed Tyr. Tyr was reported dead, although no one has ever found the body. God of War on PS4 showed this to us, right? But we had a theory that Tyr was alive. Remember that image that Tyr was captured by Odin and Thor? Now here is the point. Odin didn't kill Tyr, and you know that. How the gods are painted in God of War franchise. Odin does not pity anyone. You know that. A good god, beloved god, god of justice. All the wisdom he had, he gave to others. This god, guys, this god was Tyr. Tyr, as he was built in his vault, which is our hub in 2018 game. By the way, Tyr's temple, he was built by all people, all beings from the 9 realms. It is a piece of symbol for the 9 kingdoms. In Tyr's vault, everyone could travel to all realms. While Tyr was creating this vault and traveling to other mythologies, what Odin was doing? He had the dwarves creating what? Creating Mjolnir for Thor. Thor did all kinds of bad things with the giants. We learned that through the game. All this because the giant Groa had the vision of Ragnarok. She was Odin's friends. Odin and Groa, they were friends. And what happened to Groa? Odin killed her, guys. Betrayed her. Her visions of Ragnarok. He had access to some of this knowledge and he ended up killing Groa. So when Tyr set up the meeting with the giants, Odin said to Tyr, "Don't worry, this weapon, the Mjolnir, it is just something to show force, but we are not going to use it." The giants agreed to this meeting, and then Odin went there with Tyr to Jotunheim. And in one of those intervals, Odin went without permission of the giants. He tried to see the prophecies. And you know, the giants, they have this gift of premonition. We saw this with Laufey, Atreus' mother. She is a giant. We saw this kind of thing in the end of God of War 2018. We saw this with Atreus himself, that he has this gift. At the end of the game, when he dreamed dreamed about Thor, and this is coming true in God of War Ragnarok. So Odin went there, took a peek, and what did he see? He saw a man with a child, guys, on top of a kingdom, which is what he saw, what happened with Kratos and Atreus in 2018 game. And Odin thought this man was a giant, but this man is Kratos. Do you guys understand? The giants already had the knowledge of Kratos' existence. And Odin, of course, was expelled from there, from the land of the giants. And the giants were very fond of Tyr. They liked Tyr. So, of course, they did nothing to him. They were so fond of Tyr that they made a triptych, the mural in honor of the Norse god of war. And Tyr, guys, also was gifted with crystal eyes, the same eyes as Mimir. Tyr, with his eyes, he can see what other people can't see, and above all, have the vision of the future and the gift of premonition. We saw in the trailer that Kratos and Tyr meet. Tyr is apparently in a broken spirit, I think frustrated for everything he has done, everything he's accomplished, and where he ended up. But I think with these eyes, Tyr will be able to see Kratos and Atreus' intentions, you know? So for sure he will have a new spirit. Tyr, remembering that he already knows Kratos. That's because when we enter Tyr's temple, Tyr's vault, to get the Unit Stone, for us players to make the way to Jotunheim, we see the vase. In Tyr's temple, in Tyr's vault, we know that he has several gifts that he received from other mythologies. He visited, he saw and talked to a lot of people, and because of the vase we know that Tyr knows Kratos, that he knows the legend of the Ghost of Sparta. And guys, you know that Kratos doesn't have such a good reputation there in Greece, right? I remember what Kratos said in the trailer. When we get into the balls, into the mysterious part of the temple, we see that part, that piece of the mural. And it is with Mimir's crystal eyes that we can see the truth that Odin could not see at that time, because he didn't have the knowledge of the crystal eyes at that time. Mimir always tells us that Odin, he is ahead. It was even said in the trailer, things that we don't expect. And the Dark One could be Odin's greatest asset. That's why I think he didn't kill his son Tyr. That image that he saw in the meeting, the secret knowledge of the giants, that man and that boy, he may have seen something else, guys, that we don't know yet. Odin may have held Tyr as a trump card. That's because after that meeting, when Tyr had already left the kingdom of the giants, and a good detail, Odin left there because otherwise he might die, and the giants let Tyr go on with one condition, that Tyr needed to hide the passage to Jotunheim. And that's what Tyr did, guys. What is our journey into the 2018 game? Find the passage to the realm of Jotunheim. And that's where everything is interconnected. We know that Tyr met Laufey, that he had a contact with her. And when this threat arose, what happened? Tyr hid the Unit Stone in his temple. And what did the snake do? It submerged the temple for many years. More than 150 years. Do you understand? Everything is connected. And how did Tyr travel between the kingdoms after everything that happened? How did he travel secretly? We find out with Mimir through the crystal eyes when we see the piece of the mural. He reveals to us that Tyr, he jumped there from the Yggdrasil branches, through Bifrost with the Unit Stone. And what happens when we jump without the stone? We die, and with the stone we are able to travel. And notice that in this mural we have this revelation of how Tyr traveled. And we have the other mythologies in corners, the other 4 mythologies that we believe may be where Kratos will go in the next games. So what we see here is the Omega symbol that Kratos says he knows well. It is from Greek mythology, the Celtic Triskelion from Celtic mythology. By the way, guys, Mimir is Celtic. He came from there, the Celtic Triskelion from Celtic mythology, the Japanese Tomoe symbol, and the Eye of Horus from Egyptian mythology. And it's exactly in the corners where Tyr made his trips between the Nordic kingdoms. So it could be that the mechanism that Tyr had to make his trips to other mythologies is the Unit Stone. Could it be? This is because he was always at service of others. We saw him stopping wars with conversation as a matter of fact, Kratos talks about this in the trailer. Suddenly there is another way, and the person who can show us is Tyr, because he went to other lands to share his knowledge. While Odin was a jealous guy, he kept things to himself. Tyr didn't. Tyr shared, and that's why he was loved by everyone, because he brought truth, peace. Mimir tells us in a dialogue that Tyr liked to believe the best in others. And when I heard this guy, I immediately remember Kratos, that Tyr will have to believe in Kratos. So Tyr was considered a hero, a good god, the other way around. There is a detail that has gone unnoticed by almost all players of God of War 2018. There is a moment in Tyr's vault that we see an army of statues. And Mimir even jokes that Tyr said that his best arm was an army of statues. He even jokes, can this suddenly live? Can these statues create life? That's the point. We see on the carpets, which show the history of Tyr, that he had an army, and we know that there will be a war of armies in Ragnarok. The army of the dead, from the realm of the dead, the arm of Valhalla, the arm of the giants, and the arm of Tyr. Tyr's arm. They all will go into action, guys. We believe, according to the art book of the game, that on the bridge of the Lake of Nine, there was a war of armies there, when Tyr was captured by Odin. And this statue army could be just waiting for its leader, for Tyr to arrive. And at the snap of a finger, that's it. I just don't know how PlayStation 5 will handle processing all this great war of army in Ragnarok. I don't know, guys, because the game will be on PlayStation 4 too. Remembering that I have already brought this to you in the channel, Fenrir is already in the game. He already exists in this timeline. The story of Norse mythology tells about the sacrifice of Tyr. The wolf Fenrir wanted to be accepted among the gods, the Aesir gods. He was always there participating in tests until he went to participate in one great test with the magic chains of the dwarves. In the story of Norse mythology, Fenrir became suspicious of this test and asked the gods for a proof. And the only one brave enough was Tyr to put his arm in the wolf's mouth. And the wolf said that it was a trap, that if it was a trap, he would rip Tyr's arm off. So that is a very big symbolism of a story of sacrifice, because in this story, Tyr sacrificed himself for the good of the Aesir gods, and that's probably what he's going to do now, for the greater good, guys. And that's why this story of Tyr is very closely tied to the story of Atreus. If it is not Sindri who is dead there in the final wall, it could be Tyr. And this story that we are following is very interesting, because Kratos himself said at the end of God of War on PlayStation 4 that this is not his story, it's Atreus' story. And we are seeing the construction of this warrior since childhood, which is Atreus. And this learning with Kratos, and this learning that he may have with Tyr, will be very important for the formation of this warrior. That can even be one of the new protagonists of a great franchise that is God of War. And do you know what the giants said to Tyr before he left after this chaos with Odin in their land? The giants said to Tyr, you can leave, but before or when you get there, don't forget to tell Odin that the end of the Aesir gods is certain. Both the end of the Aesir gods and the end of the giants themselves. Consider to be a member of my game channel and support all this content. It will help a lot, guys. And like I said, I'm preparing a surprise for you. Your name on the video on the screen with something very special. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching. Bye bye, guys.